Good morning. Thanks for joining us on the territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection to this land. I'm Samir Kayande, and I'm the Alberta NDP MLA for Calgary-Elbow. And I'm here with two of my bosses, two constituents of our riding, Sheila Lear and Larry Dimon. Sheila and Larry and their neighbors reached out to me a few days ago, and they told me they'd just gotten notice of up to 40% in rent increases. That's hundreds of dollars per month. I was horrified. These are people who built this country. They worked hard all their lives. They deserve to sleep easy in warm beds and live out a dignified retirement. And instead, they face losing their homes. Sheila and Larry live at Westview West, a seniors building operated by a nonprofit, Silvera. Obviously, for anyone on a fixed income, like a pension, these rent hikes mean financial hardship at best, or simply being forced out onto the street. So I wrote to the Minister of Seniors, Jason Nixon, and demanded that he come and meet with these Albertans, explain what steps he is taking to keep them housed. I'm disappointed that he has not written me back, and he has not reached out to these Albertans. And I want to be clear. The fault lies with the provincial government. Interest rates are up. Costs are up. Silvera is a nonprofit who I believe wants to do the right thing for its tenants and society. In the face of these increased costs, the Alberta government must step in, or Sheila and Larry's story will be repeated over and over for the next year as more and more seniors face rent increases and maybe eviction. I hope the government is listening today. And I'd like to invite Sheila Lear up to the podium to share her story.
Thank you. Hi, I'm a resident of Westview West, a 55-plus independent living apartment building owned and operated by Silvera, a nonprofit organization. Recently, tenants of Westview West received notification of a rent increase from 20 to 40%. Part of this increase is the introduction of a mandatory $195 fee for amenities like meals and shuttle service. These services used to be optional. I will have a hard time budgeting my income with this new increase, but a number of other tenants will have an even harder time than myself. Just to note that we are all on a fixed pension and generally receive only a small 2 or 3% cost of living increase annually. The Westview West suites were initially rented at market value, and a third of the suites being rented at below market value. The individuals paying below market value have also been advised of a rent increase of approximately 15 to 20%. These tenants are not being offered a new lease. They are here because Silvera told them, since they had no vacancies in any other subsidized units, they could live at Westview West until they could be moved to subsidized housing. My understanding is that there is a wait list of over 400 individuals for subsidized housing. Without a lease, these tenants will be put in a position where their rents could be increased on a quarterly basis. With no subsidized housing available, where will these individuals go? Where will any of us go? Larry?
Thank you for having us here today. I'd like to start by saying this building is a little more than a year old. They started to populate it with tenants, I think May of 2022. So I'd like to say that these buildings don't just appear on the landscape overnight. They take several years of planning with participating partners, municipal, provincial, federal departments, as well as a complete laundry list of private donors and developers. And I'm pretty sure the process also included securing necessary residual financing to the building. Now, presumably, the various government departments, whether it be federal, provincial, municipal, that get involved in dishing out taxpayers' funds for these types of projects. In this case, it was seniors. They, can I use the word virtue signal? Allows them to virtue signal that they're doing the right thing for senior people, and they're taking steps for their well-being. So the question is, once the various levels of governments and their associated departments, whether it be CMHC or whoever in the provincial level, once those various levels of governments and their associated departments cut a taxpayer's check to the operator for delivery of the product, in this case, Silvera, is that the end of the responsibility to these government departments? Handed a check, good enough. Where's the oversight? Where's the oversight of these various government agencies to say, hey, this building's only a year old, what's going on here? Why? And I'd like to correct the math here a little bit. It is up to 55% increase if you include these meal services, which we're in an independent building and we don't need. So, and I can, you know, deliver on the math on that one if you like. But where's the oversight to make sure that this product is being delivered in the fashion that it was intended when these governments cut the check? Who's looking over it? Who's saying, hey, in this case, Silvera, what's going on? Why the 55%? Are you using this as some sort of a ATM for your failing building next door? Can you explain? Show us the sheet? No, no oversight. So is it the government's position to allow the operator to carry on as it wishes, do whatever it likes, as is the case in point? Or would the various government departments, federal, provincial, municipal, who all like to pass this around like a hot potato, would they have me believe that their responsibility ends with the photo op and the ribbon cutting? Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And it's a very good question. The provincial government has an ongoing responsibility to help seniors like Larry and Sheila. That goes beyond simply building the facility, but making sure that it remains attainable and affordable for everyone who lives there. So that's why we're here. We're in a housing crisis here in Alberta. The provincial government has done nothing while our affordable housing stock dwindles and rents are getting more brutal every month. These kinds of rent increases are putting Calgary seniors in my riding at high risk of homelessness. We need the Minister of Seniors to show up and do his job and keep these seniors in housing. It's as simple as that. We're happy to take your questions.
Okay, we'll start with questions in person, then go to questions on the line.
Hi, Sarah Offen with Global News. I just wanted to ask sort of specifically what you would like to see from the province. Are we talking about rent controls, you know, or more oversight for building operators? What specifically would you like to see them doing right now?
Thank you very much for that question, Sarah. There's a whole laundry list of approaches that the provincial government could take on if they simply cared enough. One of them is, you know, the cost of financing, the cost of rolling over the construction loans has gotten very expensive. As we all know, interest rates have gone up a lot. It would actually cost nothing today to simply guarantee that those loans could be rolled over at the same interest rate that they've got right now. And then, you know, the main driver for a lot of these rent increases would be significantly, you know, reduced. The other thing, the other very obvious thing is build more housing. That is something that is within the provincial government's control, and they are actually building fewer units of affordable housing this year than they built last year. There's also direct supports to seniors in need. And there are programs available. They are hard to get. People don't know about them, and ultimately they get tapped out when the funding gets entirely allocated. So there's a whole host of things that the government could do that it is not. And you know, if I could just be like nakedly partisan for a second, what they're choosing to do instead is take senior CPP away when they should be focused on fixing the housing crisis. And I think that's wrong.
Maybe for Larry and Sandra, I hope I got your names right. I'm just wondering if you can maybe share a little bit more about what your plans are from here, what kind of contingency plans you have at this point, and the precarious situation that this sort of leaves you in.
I'll go after you if you want.
Right,
Sorry to put you.
right now, I don't know what I'm going to do because I have phoned over 25 places in Calgary, and they all have waiting lists. So I don't have the option to move unless I want to move out of Calgary, which I don't want to do. I came here, this is my final home before I either pass away or go to an assisted living place. But I don't feel at home anymore. All of that's been taken from me. So what I'm going to do, I'm really not sure right now, but I know I will eventually be moving somewhere.
Where were you living previously?
Before this, I lived in Saskatchewan because I was taking care of my sister. So, but now I want to be close to my son, which isn't going to be possible, probably. Thank you.
Same question?
Yeah.
Plans for the future?
Yeah.
At this point, they're a little murky. Now, I think I could prelude this a bit with, at this point in time, other than hand-delivered notes saying your rent is going up and offering a meal service, I use that word loosely, the future is just murky because we've been required to come in and sign a lease between November 4th and 8th, but we have yet to be shown this lease. So what other surprises are there in this lease that we're being required to sign? I guess it would be fair to say that after the way this has been articulated to us, or not articulated to us, how can you trust them? Show me on paper what you want me to sign. I'm sure there must be some rules around leases, around their presentation, about how long prior to your previous lease they should be presented, and so on. I mean, we haven't even been afforded a lease to view. I've requested it. Many other residents have requested it. Can't review it because the day the news hit a couple of weeks ago, CTV broke the news. That very day, I was promised a lease by the building manager next door, Zahira Barmal. I got an email from her. Oh, sorry, can't deliver on this lease because it's gone to head office for review.
And if you don't sign the lease during that time, when
Well,
does time up? Did they give you a deadline?
I have to give you what they like to refer to, the managers next door, as, and we've had a plethora of them. There's been, in the last 18 months, at least 6 managers come and go. So one manager tells you one thing, is refuted by the next, and referred to as coffee talk. Coffee talk. That's, you can't, it's not on writing, so it's just coffee talk. We can revise it any way we want. So, no, show me the lease. Give me time to review it. Maybe I've got something that I want to ask questions about of somebody in a position of, say, a lawyer. Is this right? Do I have any ground to stand on? They're not affording me that yet. But I have a date, and I can show it to you, it's on this paper. Requiring me to come in and sign that lease between November 4th and November 8th. If that makes any sense to anybody out there, let me know.
Any other questions in person?
Can I just ask for clarification? When is your lease up then? Like when, if this doesn't work, when do you have to be out?
My wife's and I lease was up the end of September. We got this notice September 29th, and there you go.
Okay, we'll go to questions on the line. Just a reminder for those joining on the Zoom to use the raise hand function. One more pass for questions in the room. Nick, you're good? Yeah, good. Okay, and that's all for today. Thanks.
Okay.